the West is so desperate to get rid of him. According to Western officials, Traoré is a gold-thieving warlord clinging to power in Burkina Faso, a Western African nation they claim he's running into the ground. Well, just last month, U.S. General Michael Langley, let me show you his picture here, the commander for the U.S. African Command, he testified before Congress claiming Traoré is stealing gold and using it to protect himself and his regime, as if using the national bank account for protection and the military is somehow criminal when our own government just upped the defense budget to $1 trillion. But anyway, here's the part they leave out. Ibrahim Traoré is not a dictator. He's a 37-year-old military captain who came to power in 2022, not through some elite Western-funded election, but by leading a popular military coup backed by everyday people in his country. Why? Well, because the previous government had completely failed to defend the country against jihadist terror groups who, by the way, largely were formed after the violent U.S.-backed overthrow of Gaddafi. Not only that, but the leaders were actually laundering money for self-enrichment on the side, which is no surprise. So the people of Burkina Faso grew tired of being poor in one of the most resource-rich regions on earth. They were tired of French and American influence, tired of so-called leaders who actually took orders from Paris and Washington. And Traoré, a young, unapologetically African and deeply nationalist man, became a symbol of resistance because of it. And what the West can't stand is this.
Those imperialists consider that we belong to them, and our wealth also belongs to them. They think that they are the ones who must continue to tell us what is good for our states. Africa, our continent that suffered so much because of the imperialists. This era is gone forever. Our resources will remain for us and our populations.
Yeah. These are the words of a man who knows exactly what's at stake. Now, since taking power, Traoré has cut military ties with France, he's expelled French troops, and demanded control over his country's gold, land, and future. He's rebuilt roads, made education free, and never raised his own salary in the process. He has kept his captain's salary from the military. He's also partnered with China and Russia, and for that, the empires tried to destroy him. He's already survived multiple assassination attempts and several coup plots to remove him, and the smear campaigns are nonstop. Now, Western media calls him erratic, paranoid, even dangerous, but why wouldn't you be when you're the African David standing up to the old colonial Goliath? And here's what the media won't show you. Across Africa and around the world, millions upon millions of people of African descent are cheering him on, from Paris to Harlem to Port-au-Prince. There have been mass rallies in solidarity with him, and chants of colonizers get out, France get out. This has been ringing through the streets. Now, this is because, for the first time in decades, someone is actually saying out loud what so many African leaders have whispered in private, and that is that the age of Western domination is over. Well, joining us tonight is Theo Wilson. In fact, let me just show you this. You might know him. He is a journalist, filmmaker, slam poet, and activist, and until recently, he was actually an advisor to RFK Jr. on African American affairs. You might know him from this viral TikTok video on the subject of Ibrahim Traoré, where he breaks down the truth after he himself traveled to the Sahel region in Africa, where he met with locals and got the story directly from the people living under Traoré's leadership. Theo, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Okay, so a lot of people in the mainstream media, social media, they're all saying that, oh, this Ibrahim Traoré, he is a dictator, people hate him, this is all smoke and mirrors. You recently traveled to the region, and you talked to the people, and you saw the influence firsthand. Do the people in the region hate him and think he is a dictator? Is that the real truth?
Oh my God. And the mainstream wonders why they're losing credibility. They wonder why. Like, literally, so I've been on the ground in Ghana, which borders Burkina Faso. I was actually in northern Ghana, in what's called the Sahel region. And I spoke to people there. And when I tell you the man's shadow looms large over the continent, he is beloved in countries that have nothing to do with Burkina Faso, let alone where he borders. And the folks, the young people specifically, he's embodying the leadership that they've been crying out for. And because of this populist rise and support of Ibrahim, Other leaders, including Ghana's president, is actually starting to take notice and forge alliances. And this kind of upsets the Western power dynamic that they've had over Africa for the last 500 years. So yeah, they love him. They love him.
They love him. So you didn't hear anybody. There was like no one that was like, oh, no, he's a dictator and he's stealing all the gold and running off with it. He's just getting rich off of this whole thing.
Oh no. In fact, people are asking how come their leaders aren't more like him. And so I think what's going on is that he did seize power in a coup. This is absolutely true. The leader he took power from was a man named Paul Damiba. And Paul Damiba had failed at controlling jihadist elements within Burkina Faso. And along with that, there was rumors in Burkina Faso that part of the reason why he failed is because these jihadist elements were being puppeteered by France and he was nothing but controlled opposition. Indigenous leadership, especially in French-speaking Africa, is rising up all over the place. So you have Niger, you have Mali, and now you have Burkina Faso, who are forming a trading bloc. And so it's in the air there. And the countries that border it are literally saying to their leadership, we need to become more self-sustaining like Burkina Faso and profit from our own minerals and not have them extracted through the ECOWAS system. We get into that a little bit later, but everyone loves them and they want more of that in Africa.